I am looking for my brother, Kevin Ray Boney. He liked to live under the radar because of course, we're Native Americans, so he didn't want the government knowing everything. So he had, he always got paid under the table and everything.
It's hard to know where your loved one might be when they live off the grid. But after April 2007, family of Kevin Ray Boney started to grow suspicious that they hadn't heard from him, recalling a strange final encounter while walking out of a theater near Veterans Memorial Drive and Highway 1960 in Houston.
Mom started talking to him. Some guy came up and was like, "Hey, dude." He was trying to get argumentative with my brother. And I remember he had glasses. He had like an old Honda Accord, and his car was filled up with junk.
The family didn't know this man and aren't sure if Kevin knew him either. The one thing they did know is Kevin had plans at the time to move to Oklahoma and get back together with the mother of his child.
My younger brother's dad was living in Houston, and he was going to ride with him back to Oklahoma. And so he's the last one that saw him, because he said he came over and he brought his stuff over there, but he never did come back.
So he was all packed?
Mm-hmm.
Did they get in the car and go, or he never came back?
He said he never came back for the ride.
And never made contact with his family again. When police came to question his would-be driver,
he won't talk to him.
Why not?
They can't find him.
Is he missing, or he's just evading them?
I think he's evading them. I know he's alive.
the same man that Kamisha says had abused her and 4 of her siblings is now withholding information about her brother's last known moments in Houston. But it gets even stranger. One day, there's a knock at her mother's door, with Kamisha describing police barging in looking for Kevin.
They made my mother get in the middle of the living room floor and her boyfriend in the middle of the living room floor. And they're like, "We know he's here." And she's like, "We know, we've been seeing him." She's like, "He's driving that Suburban." My mom told him, "No, that's my daughter driving that Suburban."
It was you.
Me.
A random raid, but Kamisha claims that police told her they have no record that it happened. Years carried on. Kevin never called. No clues ever came in.
Mm-hmm.
When is it the hardest?
I say around his birthday, and in April. My mother has been gone for 10 years, and I think one of the reasons why is because she worried so much about her son and not knowing where he's at.
More than a decade and a half gone by, and Kamisha has not given up.
I have hope. I have hope. He was diabetic, so I don't know.
What's your best theory on what happened?
Maybe he's in witness protection, because now his daughter is married herself. She has 2 kids, so I don't think he would be away from that, because he adored kids.
He used to always try to teach me how to play the guitar. He was a big part of my childhood.
My youngest daughter, she's like, "Mom, Uncle Kevin's alive. If you don't want to be seen, that's fine. Just tell us you're okay. Just tell us you're okay."
Well, hello, my friends. Thank you so much for being here live with us for the Missing Alive. Sorry about a little technical glitch to get us started, but man, what a story for us to be talking about this week. What a case, and 15 years that they have been looking. And of all the families that we've worked with, this is one of the families that left me with the sense that, man, Kevin, I'm convinced Kevin is still alive. I'm very much convinced of it. And we are joined by Kamisha, who's here to talk a little bit more about the case and answer some questions. So Kamisha, first of all, I want to know how it was for you to watch the story told back. We sat together. We had a great conversation. There's so much that, I had to pack it all in. But like I say, it's like a movie trailer for this case because there's so much to it. How was it to watch?
Emotional.
Yeah.
Emotional, but hopeful.
Good. How so?
Hopeful that his story's getting out there and people see him wherever he may be. Now it's just not secluded to the Houston area. It has been put out there on the internet, so it's getting to further places than just here.
Indeed. Indeed. Our article has been on our website. People can watch the story, share this story. So let's talk a little bit more about this story, because one of the things that stuck with me is that when I asked you, what is your theory on what's going on, you said witness protection. And the more I think about it, the more I just kind of, I don't know, it makes sense in a way, because it just doesn't add up any other way to me. Explain sort of how you reached that conclusion.
Because it's just like nobody just drops off the end of the earth. Nobody. So his social hasn't been used. I mean, like I said, yeah, he tried to live under the radar and get paid under the table and stuff, but yet nobody just drops off the end of the earth. So I just feel like that, I don't know. It's just hard. I guess it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know. I guess it's part of the hope.
Yeah, sure.
A part of the hope. And I mean, just like really his DNA, he's in the NamUs system. So his DNA is in the system. So if it ever was to come up, they could track us down like that. And there has never been a hit on it.
Nothing on 15 years.
Nothing. Has not been a hit on it. Whether it goes through the morgue and they do the DNA on the unidentified, nothing has come up there.
So those of you who are watching, you're welcome to throw questions in the comments if you're watching us on Facebook Live. If you have any questions about this case, because there's just so many twists and turns. And I've got Kevin's photo. You gave us pictures, and they've been on my desk. I mean, I've just been transfixed thinking about this, and I know a lot of our team members have been as well. So that last encounter, let's talk about that last encounter at the movie theater, where we have Derek here saying that movie theater is right by where his wife lives. So we have people in the area who've now seen this story. So there was this strange individual. You say strange because this was someone unfamiliar to you. This was someone who was aggressive towards Kevin in a way, kind of came up, you said was argumentative. Talk about that person and talk about that moment.
Okay, so yeah, we were just coming out of the theater and we just saw Kevin in passing, and we hadn't seen him for a while. So then he had went and I'm sorry, somebody was texting me.
It's okay.
Yeah, my sister's trying to get on and she can't get on for some reason.
Oh, no worry. Yeah, we do have quite a few of your family here. Let's bring everybody in so everyone can say hi. So everyone introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Alexis, Kamisha's other daughter.
Hi, Alexis.
Yeah, Kevin's niece.
Alexis, are you the one who believes he's still alive? That he's around?
I have mixed emotions.
Yeah? Talk about it.
I'm very spiritual, and I feel like he's at peace wherever he is, that his spirit is at peace, and I really don't feel like he ever found his peace here. So to me, I don't know. He never found his peace to me on this earth. He was always going through something. So the fact that I resonate with him being at peace, I hope that it's here, but there's no guarantee.
Alexis was with me whenever we were at the movie theater, the night that we saw that man. Alexis and Cheyenne was with me, and it was my mother. We had walked out of the theater. And Kevin was passing by. And Kevin didn't have a phone, so Mom was telling him about people calling about a job. And so he was talking to her, and we were all just standing around. So this guy drove by, and he stopped in the middle of the road, and he came up to Kevin and was fussing at Kevin. Kevin's like, dude, I'm trying to talk to my mother. Leave me alone. And he said, I'll talk to you later. Leave me alone. So to me, Kevin knew who the person was. We just didn't know. And so then they started cursing. And so that's when I took my girls further down the sidewalk, and I let
Sure.
my mother and him talk, because I didn't feel, because they started cursing and stuff, and I didn't want the girls to see that. So
Sure.
we just took off. So
Now, we've got a lot of questions coming in about the sort of police raid situation that happened. George, who's one of our regulars here, George, always with us, said, did the police give any reason for kind of coming to your mother's home? Was it local police? Who did they claim to be? You told me that they were plain clothes. So you're not even sure that they were police.
I'm not even sure that they were plain clothes. They just knocked on the door, and I kind of like pushed the door open, because my mother was in front and my mother opened the door, and they pushed the door open. And then that's when they had her go into the middle of the living room floor, and then her boyfriend was in the bedroom. They made him come out and go in the middle of the living room floor too. I wasn't there. That's just what my mother had told me.
But they didn't show up in a police vehicle with flashing lights or anything
Well,
official.
she didn't see. I don't know if she even
So not
went
that you
outside to
saw.
see all that or not. It's just that she said when she opened the door, they pushed the door open.
And how long was this after Kevin went missing that this happened?
I don't know that timeline.
Was it shortly after? Or was it like 10 years after?
I want to say, Alexis, how old is you when I graduated from that college? You remember?
It was a couple years after he passed. I mean, after he went missing.
So
Okay.
a couple of years. Okay. So relatively recent. George has another question. Do they have guns? Do they have weapons?
I don't know. My mother has passed since then, so I
He didn't
don't
mention any.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully they didn't. Yeah, a lot of people saying that just really stuck with them. That either it's strange the police wouldn't clarify themselves, or that clearly that could have been something really strange
Yeah,
that
especially
happened.
that it's not on record.
Brian has a question. You've mentioned witness protections. Wants to know whether there's something that he was involved with, or someone that leads you to believe that.
I guess it's just really me. I can't. Hard. I'm sorry,
No,
y'all.
it's okay. I know it's hard. I know.
Kevin was just he drank, he had public intoxications and stuff like that, but Kevin was never into any drugs or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he just ran up on something that he didn't have, didn't mean to run up onto.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's all complicated. Tammy has a question. Did your mother ever call police and talk to them about that sort of raid incident, that moment?
That would be a question for my other sister, and she's unable. She's been trying to get on and she can't.
Okay, and Rhonda's with us.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Rhonda, hi.
Hi.
Hi. We have a question for you to get you right in the mix here. I know you've been listening, but Tammy wants to know whether the family, whether your mother or anybody contacted police about that sort of like bust-in moment where they came, and if they were able to tell you anything at all.
No, she didn't actually go up there and talk to anybody, but it was mentioned when we reported him missing.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, the cop that came over and took the report, he wasn't taking it serious, and he just, I don't know. He seemed really just, honestly. But also back to that raid, I would like to reiterate on that they had been watching my mother's house for a little while because they knew that a pizza had been ordered, which was true. And that was, I think, Kamisha in that car whenever the pizza was picked up or something. And that's why they thought that was Kevin driving that car. When
And that
actually
used
it was
to be
Kamisha.
Kevin's car, correct?
Kevin, at
or
this
at least
point,
he used
we'd
to drive
already
it.
known. We hadn't seen him. No, it was actually my mom. We drove it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And Kamisha, you had
But
told
no,
me that. Go ahead.
No, nothing, no kind of, final thoughts on that as far as her going and saying, look, I want some answers to this. Nothing was really pushed on it. I think that she just at first believed what they said, and then the longer she got to thinking about it, the more she was like, that just didn't seem right.
Well, we'll have our team
Because
reach
they
out to law
practically pushed her
enforcement.
down.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
have our team go ahead and contact law enforcement to get some more clarity. So Denise, we haven't heard as much from you.
Well, I live in Tulsa, which is where he's from. I remember a few years ago, I'm going to say probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was going to visit his brother's wife in the hospital here in Tulsa. And when I went to the desk asking for her, they said, we don't have her, but we do have a Kevin Boney here. And I said, Kevin Ray Boney? Yes. And it stopped my heart for one thing. And then it was so exciting. But then the lady looked down and she said, I'm so sorry. This was an old admission. I mean, so we've had our hopes up and we've had them dashed a lot over the years. But that one was a heart stopper.
I mean, no kidding. And one thing that really stopped my heart, Kamisha, when your daughter mentioned that sometimes she feels like she sees him kind of in the distance in the crowd and feels like maybe if he's here, for some reason he's keeping distance, but coming around, maybe checking on her, that she's had that happen so many times. And that was just so fascinating to me because I was left with this case after digging through it and working on it here. There's a huge part of me that wants to believe he's out there and that there's just something he can't tell you guys. Like you said, how was it for her to watch this report?
I haven't talked to her because she's been working, so I haven't discussed that with her.
Okay.
And I'm sad. She was trying to get on. She must be sleeping because she works overnight. So.
So what can people do to help your family?
Share his story. Continue to share it. This is the most coverage we've gotten in 15 years. So continue to share his story. Keep an eye out. Just if you get any tips, call it in.
Any of you who are watching this, whether right now live or if you see this in the future, make sure that you know the Texas Center for the Missing, which is centerforthemissing.org. You can always reach out to them if you have tips on any case that you see in our series. And in particular, in this case, if you see Kevin or think you know anything about what happened, you can always call those tips in to them. And then, of course, law enforcement, always an option as well. But we like to work with the Texas Center for the Missing because they're able to get that information to whatever agency is necessary. So one central place so you know where to call. And then you mentioned NamUs. I want to highlight that again. NamUs is an organization or a website where missing person cases, unidentified person cases, it's all there. Makes it easy for someone to go in, take a look, and be able to see more details on the case. So people are sharing the story. You're getting a lot of love. People asking for the picture again. Let me hold up Kevin for y'all so you guys can see. Here he is. So, and you can see the similarity between him and Kamisha. They look so much alike. It's wild.
My cousin gets mistaken for her daughter quite often. She looks more like her daughter than I do.
I believe it. He's got sort of a Johnny Depp vibe in this one. I like that.
Oh, he would like that.
Well, if nothing else, if we find him off to get him and Johnny together or something. But look, thank you guys so much for hopping on with us. Thank you to everyone who tuned in and you heard from the family. Please do what you can. I know it's not always the coolest thing. It's not always going to get the most likes when people post these kinds of stories, but I hope those of you watching understand how much it means to these families to see that we care and we're listening. And hey,
that's Peyton.
Hi, Peyton. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. Good. I'm going to be part of the big family, which is great today. We are wrapping your whole family with love. We appreciate you guys for hopping on live. Keep us posted. For those of you who want to keep up with the case, we will continue to keep updates on our web article. So if you go to fox26houston.com under the More section, you can go to the Fox 26 Originals, and that's where you'll find the missing. And once you're in there, you can find all of our past stories, Kevin being the latest, but we've had a lot of cases. And as you see, we have people who've been located. It has happened. And in one case, it happened within minutes of one of our reports airing. So that is what we live for, is to see that happen again. We hope you guys will help us do that by sharing the story. Because if nothing else, we can show this family that we see them, we hear them, and we would want nothing less if it was one of our loved ones. So let's give them nothing less than all of the support that we have to give. And that's as simple as hitting share or liking the post on our social media. So thank you guys so much. This YouTube video will stay up online. And Commissioner, you mentioned that if people want to keep up, that you have your Instagram page where people can go and send you a message, find you there. So we will, even though it's a private account, you're inviting people to reach out to you there if they want to get involved with the case. Okay, great. So there you go, folks. Go ahead and find her. Go ahead and read the story, and let's see if what we can do to bring even just a tip. I mean, anything would be helpful. Anything matters. And again, we would want nothing less if it was one of our own loved ones. So thank you so much to your entire family.
Kaitlin, thank you so much for getting his story out there. We surely appreciate it.
Oh, it's our honor. I mean, I would want nothing less, and you guys deserve nothing less. So thank you so much. Keep us posted. We'll keep updating the web article, and we hope to have great news sooner than later. If nothing else, it's been such a pleasure to get to know your family and get to know Kevin.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
Have a great night, everyone who joined us, and we'll see you next time on The Missing Live.
Thank you. Bye.